Please watch the video in high quality. In this video, we will learn how to fix invisible faces of models in Unity by duplicating the faces like so. When importing models in Unity, we could run through an issue of missing faces or parts of the mesh. And that's due to the winding of the faces within the mesh and therefore the directions of the normals. So there are different ways to fix that issue. Some of the solution would be done in the shader or on the GPU side, and the other could be done on the mesh side by duplicating the faces. In this video, we will explore an answer by Aldo Naletto. I'll put a link in the description. This answer duplicates the faces of the meshes. So we have two halves. The first half is exact copy of the original faces of the mesh. And in the second half, the faces order is reversed and also the normal direction is reversed. We're going to see that in a minute. So let's set the UI to showcase this solution. So I'll start by creating a button, right click, and then UI, and then button Text Mesh Pro, and import the Text Mesh Pro essentials. And then we'll set the button anchor to top left and change the position to be 0, 0, and the width to be 350 and the height to be 75. And in the text, we'll write show double faces. And we'll change the font size to 35. There you go. And then I'll change the pivot X to 0 and the Y to 1 of the button. And then set the X and Y to 0, so it's in the top left corner, like so. Now I will import a model. So under the asset, I'll create a new folder. We'll call it models, and we'll open this folder, and then I'll have a demo model. I'll just drag it. It's OBJ file. I'll drag it inside the model. And make sure to select that demo model in the asset or the model you imported. And then in the inspector properties, change the read and write. Make sure to tick that so we could modify the mesh within the code later. And make sure to select apply to apply the settings or the tick we just applied. In the hierarchy, I'll create empty. Right click, create empty. We'll call it model. And I will drag the newly imported object file or model inside that empty model object. And I will select the demo and I'll just reset its orientation to the rotation on the X side. I'll press F to zoom to it, and I will just orient by pressing right click just to have decent angle to it. And then to set my camera to look in that direction, what I'm seeing. So I'll just select the main camera and hold or press Ctrl Shift and F on the keyboard, and you'll see our camera adapted my orientation. So now if I hit play, you will see that there are missing faces within the model. I'll just move the model a little bit to that direction, click the main camera and press Ctrl Shift and F to reorient, and then play again. See, there are here, obviously, here's many missing faces that we'll fix soon. And I will apply a material to the model. So under the asset, right click, create. I'll create a folder. We'll call it materials. And inside that, right click, create material. And we'll call it gray. And we'll assign gray gray color to it. And then we'll drag it on the model to apply. Now it's time to create the script. So under the asset, I'll create a new folder. We'll call it scripts. And inside it, I'll right click, create C#. And I will call it double faces. And I will drag it into a game object. In this case, I will put it in the into the model object. If I select the model, we'll see the double faces script is here. I'll double click the file to open it in my editor, which is Visual Studio. So inside my script, I will add a new method. It's called duplicate faces. And I will declare a public game object. We'll call it model. We'll assign it soon in the editor, but let's see what's going on in that duplicate faces method. So it's first here, it's looping through the game object children to fetch any child that has a renderer or a mesh inside it. And then it will get the mesh inside that loop, get each mesh in each child, and then get the original mesh components, that's including the vertices using mesh vertices, and the number of vertices is the length of vertices array, and then gets the normals and get the triangles and the number of triangles and the texture coordinates of that mesh. And here, just in case the imported mesh doesn't contain a texture coordinate or mesh.uv, we're just gonna assign a texture coordinate which is double the size of the original mesh. Okay. Then the next step is we gonna create a new mesh components. These components will be double the size of the original mesh. So we'll have two halves. The first half it would be an exact copy of the original mesh components. And the second half, the duplicate, in which we will reverse the order of the faces, which are the triangles of the mesh, and also we'll reverse the normals. We'll go through that soon. So we'll see in the new vertices, we assign their length to be double here double the original length of the vertices. Similarly for the normals, it's double, and the new triangles and the new texture as well, texture coordinates. Next, we will loop through the mesh component, the original number of vertices. And in the new vertices here, we will just here, this is the second half because it's j, which the iterator, plus the number of vertices. So that start from the second half, will equal the original vertices. So for example, if j is 0, the first element will equal the first element on in the second half of these vertices, which would also equal the first element of the first half. So this is just a quick way to do that. So here, the second half would mean a copy, the first and the second half of the new array of the components in here, vertices, would be exact copy of the original vertices. The new texture coordinates, similarly, would also be copied for the first and second half to make the second half of the new texture coordinate array an exact copy of the original texture coordinates. And the new normals, the first half of the new normals array is a copy of the original normals of the mesh. While in the second half, which is j plus the number of vertices, so start from the last original, after the last original vertices finish, here you see we're reversing the normal direction for the second half. The first half, it will match the original normals. The second half of the new normals would be reverse of the original or the first half. Then lastly, we are going through the triangles, and there are two phases. First, we copy the original triangles for the first half of the array to match the original triangles in this. That's what we're doing in this block here. But for the second half, which are the extra half as a result of the duplication, we notice here that triangle's order or winding order has been reversed. So here we'll see a new triangles x plus 1 equal triangles x plus 1, but here new triangles x plus 2 equal triangles x plus 1. So instead of x plus 1, x plus 2, the order has been reversed to j plus 2, which j equal x plus the number of triangles, and j plus 1. So instead of plus 1 plus 2, the order is being reversed to plus 2 and plus 1. And at the end, we have the mesh. We will assign mesh vertices. Will assign the new vertices, which is its array would double the original mesh vertices, and similarly the texture coordinates, a new one's been assigned, and the normals and the triangles. Okay, so if we save the code, now we're gonna go back to the editor. And because we assign the script to the model game object, and we have a public variable called model, we're gonna assign that now. So here, so we'll just gonna drag the model game object into this public variable and save. And now also I need to go to the button to assign the new script or the method to it. So I'll go to the only click and add, and then drag the game object that has the script in it, which is the model. Drag it here, and then just need to make sure that the method is public, which it is. That's great. And then I'll need to select double faces script, and inside it duplicate faces. Click that. Now if I click play, we'll see the faces are missing, but as soon as I click the button, all the missing faces are here. And that's it. This is how we show the missing faces using by duplicating the faces of the original mesh. Thank you. Please like, subscribe, and click the notifications button to help me make more videos like this.